It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Arsenal Lounge. That intro is getting harder to listen to every week, like trying to remember all of those good times. But anyway, thanks for joining us. We've got the power duo in the house as always, without any further sort of fanfare. Lee, how you doing, mate? Welcome.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Getting used to all this losing lark, you know. So yeah, it's not good, is it? Like, you know what I mean? So we go on, we move on to the exciting game of Chelsea. So it's all good, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Ominous. Turkish, how you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Obviously, I just had a bit of connection issues, so sorry for being late. It's on me today. But aside from that, yeah, I'm all right. Life's good at the moment, but when we get to talk about Arsenal, it takes a bit of a downward turn. But we'll get into that real soon.
Sorry to ruin that for you, bro, man. It's not my fault. Their results aren't my fault. And Shaheen, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be here. Yeah, we missed the governor last week. It's good to have him back.
Yeah, nothing much has changed. I haven't missed much, Lee. So here we go. We were going to do a Christmas special, sort of a quiz thing, but one of our panel guests got a bit unwell, Frimpong. So wishing you well back home, Frimpong. I know you're not well, so we just decided to go with our usual format today. So not going to be able to cheer you up much. We're going straight into the game last night. Arsenal versus Man City. We saw the lineups. The one thing that stood out for me huge was the big gulf in depth between the two squads. When you look at their so-called second team and what we were putting out, I saw Lee's face on the watch-alongs that I was watching when he saw that. Sort of the lineups put out, and I think he said 3-0, and he wasn't talking about Arsenal. So. Listen, we saw what went out there. The usual suspects like in Mustafis of this world, I knew I couldn't trust. Runason, we could all talk about that all day. But I'm going to hit you, Turkish, with this first. I mean, you saw the game last night. Sure, you spoke about it enough over the last 24 hours. But, you know, I want to hear your thoughts, mate, because we're trusting the same old, right? And getting the same old results.
Yeah. I don't know what really we can expect from the game last night because we're used to it. You know, we can expect to see hard work and determination and application, but we've expected that for years, and it hasn't really translated onto the pitch. So last night, look, I predicted the loss, and I predicted 3-1. There's a reason I feel this way to make those sort of predictions, you know, and it's because I don't expect anything from Arsenal anymore. I predicted
1-1 in the last prediction we did last week as well, didn't you? Was it 1-1 you predicted?
Yeah, the Southampton. Yeah, the Southampton one. I stayed on the fence a bit, and obviously I got the score wrong yesterday. It wasn't 3-1, it was 4-1. But you get my drift by predicting 3-1. It can go one of which ways, and all those ways are in City's favour. It's same old stuff, Shaheen. I mean, Lev. Sorry,
that's all right.
You know when.
It's all right, Turkish. I know me and you got this special thing you call him Shaheen. It's all right. I'll allow that.
Your name's on the tip of my
tongue. On the mind, didn't it? Is there something I don't know about you two? Like what? You're leaving me out of this now, yeah?
Nah, sorry.
You have meetings without me and shit.
It's an Iranian-Turkish collaboration here, my friend.
Come on, it goes back to the roots. But yeah, like when I always look at the bigger picture, and the biggest thing I took out of yesterday is the poor transfer business again in the summer, because Runason. We can abuse him, criticize him all day about that performance, you know, but he shouldn't be here. He was a 1.5 million cheap option goalkeeper. And the only reason we did that is because it's the cheap option. And that it goes back to that again. So as much as yesterday, yeah, without Runason in goal, maybe we lose 2-1. Maybe we lose 3-1. It doesn't necessarily change the game if Leno starts, but Arteta is making decisions that we as fans probably are losing faith in. You know, I look at the Premier League, it's a write-off. So essentially, even me, who's never rated the League Cup, You know, I've always said scrap the League Cup, have an FA Cup, Domestic League, Premier League, and then the Euro Trophy. I've said that from day one. But looking at this season, the Premier League's a write-off. So essentially, even the League Cup goes above it because it's a trophy. It adds history. As much as we have been a laughingstock this year, and as much as other teams can laugh at us, there's only a couple of teams that have won trophies this year, and we're one of them. You know, and that's what history is built on. History is not built on making top 4 or a run of 20 games without a loss. It's built on trophies. Now, at the same time, we can't lose our heads with that, because that one trophy did make us lose our heads and think that we had something to do this season. We have the team wasn't improved enough. And again, that's what I took out of the game yesterday, because there's not much more to take out. What can I take out that were rubbish? We take that.
Martinelli was a positive, no?
Martinelli's a positive, but at the same time, you know, he's at 18, 19 now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I can't put my faith and hope in Martinelli returning. And he did have a good game. He did have a good game until he got injured. But I just can't do it to myself, because we need more and more experience and character for Martinelli to even develop into the player we want him to be. Yeah. If he remains at this, you know, club without pressure, without direction, without much ambition, he won't develop into the player he might develop into at another club. And essentially, we have to be realistic as Arsenal fans too. Martinelli might be our Coutinho, he might be our Suarez, where we might sell him in 3 years for 100 mil plus. Who will be in charge of that money then? That's what will be interesting, because it's one thing giving it to Brendan Rodgers off the back of the Suarez money, and it's another thing giving it to Klopp off the back of Coutinho money. You can see how they both, you know, vast difference in how it changed. All I can take from yesterday is, okay, we got a gem in Martinelli, but it's the same old shit, Lev. Sorry to bang on, but it's the same old shit.
Thanks, Turkish man. Thanks for the pep talk, and swiftly moving over to Lee. So obviously, mate, I could see your reactions when I was watching you yesterday. Actually, he was on good form, by the way, Lee. He's cracking some good little gags at the beginning, but you weren't laughing much during the game, mate. I've got to give you that. You saw what was going on, and the things that stood out for me again, the recruitment, how poor it's been. I mean, imagine getting rid of sort of Emi Martinez and a big commanding goalkeeper and replacing him with that little. He just looks like a under 17s keeper, doesn't he? I mean, what's your thoughts, mate, yesterday and these guys?
I think the positive was Martinelli, but the other positive is that we got to see him in before January, because I'll tell you what, if anything happens to Leno, we are in bang in trouble with him in goal, like, you know, bang in trouble. And that you know, listen, I think, you know, you can criticise him and all that, but he's been getting abused and all that, like, but from my point of view, he should not be at Arsenal. He's not good enough, and that is it. You know, I see him in the what baffles me is that I see him about 2 weeks ago in the Europa League, and we were saying then that he is not ready. He's not ready to play a game for Arsenal. And then I Arteta saying that Saliba's not ready to play for Arsenal. And I'm thinking, well, why are you playing him then, who's clearly not ready? And if you don't know that he's ready, what the hell are you doing in this job? Because it was there as big as, you know, as anything to see yesterday, that this goalkeeper is not ready and should not be nowhere near Arsenal's first team. Nowhere near it. It's an absolute joke in itself. And, you know, I go to games now knowing that we're going to lose. So I just think to myself, right, I'm not going to get into the pain of it all, because you know what's coming. And then I see he doesn't give people like Saliba a chance. Okay, that's fair enough. But for whatever reason, I don't understand. There he is again, Mustafi. There he is again in the team. You know, then I get his agent coming out and saying, "Oh, he's had talks with Barcelona." So what the hell is he doing playing in an Arsenal shirt? Why is he playing in an Arsenal shirt? I see Kolasinac playing, and I see Mari and Chambers, who are fit because they've had games for the in the Europa League. Get them in there. They're the future. If they're not the future, they're more important to us than these. It's just it's a shit show. I've got to say this from start to finish, from top to bottom of this football club. You know, every decision being made now is laughable. It's laughable. What I'm seeing yesterday, I think if Leno was in goal yesterday, we had a chance of winning that game. But I didn't think Manchester City were that great. We just give them 4 goals. Look at the first goal. And then, you know, look at the Mustafi for the last one. You know, he's a centre-half. And he ain't even hitting the ball. It's ridiculous.
In your opinion, who was at fault for the first goal? I go goalie.
Goalkeeper. Mustafi as well. Mustafi's got to be going. But when you've got a goalkeeper that can't dominate his 6-yard box, you've got problems. You know, so when you chuck it onto the defenders, you know, that's his domain. He even at any level, Sunday morning, the goalkeeper says, that's my domain. You know what I mean? Anything in there, if you mess about, I'm going to come through and smash you. You know what I mean? He couldn't smash an egg. You know what I mean? Absolutely useless. You know what I mean? Like, and then I look at, and I think this is my biggest worry about Arsenal. You can go on about the board, right? It's crap. Right, you can go on about the recruitment, it's crap. You can go on about the management, it's crap. Right, I'm going to come on to the medical staff now. You know, 2 weeks ago, after I see David Luiz get a bang on the head, after a minute, I could see that he was from a TV screen. After a minute, I could see that he wasn't up for it. Right, yeah. Martinelli gets injured. He's our best player. Right. I don't expect to see him at after half time. I thought, oh, well, you know what I mean? Took a little knock. We've got a big game coming up on at the weekend. He ain't going to come on. When I see him on the pitch, I then expect him to be fit because he must have had all the examinations in that 15 minutes to say he lasted 1 minute before he broke down again. And I have Mikel Arteta going, he was desperate. He's saying that he was fit enough. He was desperate to get out there and play. He's an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid that's been out for 6 months. Of course, he is going to want to play. Of course, he's want to be out there. You know what I mean? As a manager or as a medical staff, you've got to protect this player. You've got to look after him. No looking after him whatsoever. So another shit show. Every single one of them are incompetent from the top to the bottom of this football club, and it's absolutely laughable.
You could argue, Lee, shouldn't have brought on Partey. I mean, as desperate as we were to win that derby, that North London derby, we should never have risked Partey. He obviously wouldn't have been ready. The pitch. Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have been starting, in my opinion. That's a high intensity North London derby, you know. Well, Shaheen, you're hearing Lee's getting a bit animated now. So where has it all gone wrong, mate, in your opinion? I mean, we watched the game yesterday. We can harp on about it all day long, but why has it got so bad? Why? How? We were once a club that was meant to be classy and perfect and high standards in all areas. What's going on?
It's very difficult to say what's going on because it seems, as Lee said, it's just a big mess, man. Everything you look at is a problem. From, as Lee said, medical team, going up to the manager, going up to the coaching staff, going up to the board, going up to the owner. Everything is a problem. So it's difficult to find the things that are right with Arsenal Football Club right now. For me, yesterday, from all the comments that has come about at the back of this goalkeeping horror show yesterday, for me, it shows something that has worried me a little bit. And what it is Arsenal's recruitment policy is that if somebody somewhere says, this guy is good, we just go and sign him. Did nobody do any research on this Runarsson guy? Apparently, the goalkeeping coach has recommended him, and we went and signed him. That probably somebody somewhere down the line said, Willian is good, he might do a job for us. All right, well, let's go get him. No, there seems to be no thought process, no research, no due diligence into signing a guy. And, you know, as you said, it's not his fault. You know, when Arsenal come knocking on your door, you're not going to say no, you're going to come. The guy's going to start you against Man City, you're not going to say no. And I just wondered how Matt Macy feels about all of this now. He's been at Arsenal for such a long time, and I'm sure he's not worse than this guy.
No way.
I've seen Matt Macy play once or twice.
Big guy as well.
At least he can catch a ball. I can tell you that for free. The other thing is Mikel Arteta yesterday. I thought it's a League Cup. You're in a bad form, right? Just play some of these kids. Play Balogun. Play Emil Smith-Rowe, right? Put them out there. Let's see. Look, Emil Smith-Rowe came on. With the space of a minute, he put Lacazette through and goal, and he hit the side netting. That was probably the first time I've seen somebody putting an Arsenal striker through and goal in a past 4 or 5 games. And this is not something we do often. It seems that everything has to go wide and get crossed in. Pablo Mari, why did we sign Pablo Mari? If you're gonna sign Mari, that's an Arteta signing, by the way. And then you're still gonna play somebody who's refusing to sign a contract and he's telling you, I don't want to be part of your club. And he's been making mistakes for the past 4 seasons, yet you start him over your new signing, or Callum Chambers, or William Saliba. This Chris Whitty has come out on Twitter and he said some interesting stuff about this Saliba situation. It was a bit last minute, I couldn't get it down. But he basically said, nobody has told Saliba why you're not playing. Edu is in contact with his team as to trying to sort something out for January, and he's desperate to play. And you know what? I'd rather get spanked in a League Cup by Man City 4 or 5-0, right? With Saliba, Emil Smith-Rowe, Balogun, Matt Macy, these boys. Then lose 4-1 with Mustafi. Same sort of guys. A keeper that has come out of nowhere and everybody, it's a surprise to everybody. And I agree with you guys. I watched him in the Europa League as well. It looks suspect. And you know what, Lee, you're right. If Leno gets injured, it's all over. The season is done. And you know what? One last thing I'll say on this. There seems to be this thing with Arsenal that there are players that are not good enough for the clubs that they're in or they passed there, but they deemed good enough for our football club. And I'll give you an example. Peter Cech, Willian, David Luiz. These are the guys who they were done at Chelsea. The time was done. Time was up. But we thought that these guys are good enough to come and play for us. So the expectation and the standard by this board and the owners are being lowered and lowered and lowered. Why is it that this guy is not good enough for Chelsea, but yet we signed him on a 3-year, and this is supposed to be his best year? And then you got your director of football coming out saying he needs time to settle in. I'm not going to, I will lose it if I say something more. But it's just nothing makes sense. Arteta's decisions don't make sense. Recruitment policy don't make sense. And now Arsenal are at crossroads, in my opinion, because if you're going to back Arteta and go sign, 1 or 2 players overpriced in January, what if things don't work out? And then you spend that money and this is just going to get worse and worse. And then the new manager comes in and be like, I don't really fancy these 2 guys. And I have no confidence in the board actually making the right signing. So I'm sure you're going to come to that. So I'll leave it at that. Just before you go in, sorry. There's about 360 people watching. Appreciate your time. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Turkish LDN. And thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate it.
Well said, Shaheen. Well said. Thanks for that. Well, look, I mean, a couple of things. Imagine how, if you've got a young lad who's ambitious, maybe he's come with high expectations from a lot of people, like Saliba, and I'm looking and people like Holding and Mustafi are getting in ahead of me, and how bad do you think that would make him feel? In a sense of, what, am I not good enough? Is he really that bad that he can't get ahead of those 2? Because I mean, I heard Lee say it yesterday as well. I've said it a few times. Fofana, he was playing at Saint Etienne as well. This lad was keeping him out. And Fofana looks a great catch. So, I mean, surely Saliba can't be that bad.
Look, apparently, Saliba has played, I don't know, I think about 30 or 50 professional games. 30. I can understand to a certain extent that somebody's saying, you know what, this guy is not ready and so and so. But what about Mari? What about Chambers? Why have we signed these guys for? Why have we signed Pablo Mari? So it's a waste of money. You might as well keep playing Mustafi and save your money spending on Mari and his wages and this and that. It doesn't make sense.
You know what?
And you've got players. Go on. I follow up on what Lee has been saying, and we've been saying this for the past 3 or 4 weeks on this show. There are people who seem to be playing every week, making mistakes every week, being poor every week, and yet they keep their place on their start. But there are players who come in and they show a little bit of something, and then they never get a chance.
You see, I'd like to throw this out to Turkish, right? Because you guys have made some real good points here. Like, okay, as bad as it's been, or you know, even through our worst times over the last few years, when the Wenger years where it was starting to decline. Prior to that, we had immense success, as you guys know, we all know. What has gone right? At least, look, even in those days, we still had a way of doing things. We still had an idea. We had a structural. It made sense what they did most of the time. Some of the things tactically didn't annoyed us, like maybe playing tens as wingers and things like that. There were little tactical things that did bother us, but they still made sense, Turkish. Recently, however, it's like week after week, month after month. Things are just not making sense in any area, not in the recruitment, not at the board level, not at management decision level, not on the pitch. What is going on, in your opinion? Why has it got this bad?
When did you say it made sense? The stuff we was doing, like 5 years ago.
Like, yeah, whether you agreed with what Wenger was doing, for example, and you know, I was one of them that said his time was up. We still had a structure within the club, how it all came about, how players were introduced, which ones would leave, you know, early 30s, they'd go. We all knew there was some sort of a system in place. Doesn't look like that anymore. There's nothing in place.
Yeah, the way it looked, the problem was it looked like there was a system in place when it when in reality, we were just being sold a self-sustaining model, and a lot of fans bought it, and it became a topic amongst the fan base rather than a topic between the fans and the board. That's what it should have always been. But instead, it seems like as an Arsenal fan base in particular, we debate things amongst ourselves way too much, you know, and we take the focus off the main points. Instead of debating with them or trying to, you know, clap back at them, we're all fighting with one another. You know, even down to that self-sustaining. Do you remember the times when it was self-sustaining? Wenger's a good businessman. He's got an economics degree. We are a good business. Okay, the football's gone downhill, but we make money. How stupid were them people that said that now? How stupid are they to think we're a good business, that we've gone from a profit-making club to a loss-making club? What good business does that? It's because it was a lack of care. Wenger managed to keep the ship afloat. That's what he managed to do until even he couldn't anymore. When he got the money, Xhaka and Mustafi came in one summer. I think it was 2016. And since then, we haven't made top four. And we've gone downwards since. Every single season, it's been worse. It was never, this club was never run well since we moved into Emirates. Never. We thought it was, me included, us included. We all thought it was at one stage. We all thought it made sense. And that's what we thought it made sense. And that's why we thought when Tottenham moved into their stadium, they wouldn't be able to spend money. We thought that confidently with our chest, but lo and behold, they move into the stadium, they break their transfer record. They keep hold of all their key men. So what we thought all those years was lies, you know, lies. And we believed them. But November 2020, be patient. Or it was even this month he said it, be patient. How
get excited?
How dare that? Patient bear. How can it be excited last year, be patient this year? What's it going to be next year? Be content. Now, what can it be? Because they're taking the piss out of us, literally. The only positive about this club, when Lee was saying just now that there is none, he's right, but I thought of one. The fashion, the merchandise, the commercial side. That's the only thing it seems like they do well, because they've still got fans, you know, by the balls with the fucking kits and tracksuits that come out.
But Turkish, that can only go on for so long, bro, because your club and your brand in this business is based on success on the pitch. How long can they keep using that backlog of fans that maybe supported them during the good times and now have been stuck with supporting Arsenal? There's no new breed coming through at this rate, the way we're playing. How long is that going to last before it starts to affect them further?
But you know what? I done a video with Mo on Sunday, and obviously Mo offers a very good perspective too. And you know what? Even I didn't see this coming like if you look at the last 14 years, yeah, the club has been run poorly. It's gone downhill ever since in the way it's being run. But there came a time in between there where TV rights came into England, all the extra money came into England, and the Premier League became the most attractive option. That income coming in probably sweetened Kroenke. He probably looked at it and thought, I haven't done anything at this club and it's fucking making money. I might as well sit tight. And now we've got the European Super League round the corner. And Mo highlighted that. So this loss that we made last year and the loss we're going to announce at the end of this month, beginning of January for 2020, it's going to be coupled up with a couple more losses in the next 2 years because we're still poor financially. We still got a wage structure that's poor. Even with the ones coming up, we've added Willian onto it. We've given Oba 300 plus. So our wage structure is still a problem. And in 2 years, we've got the same problem again, essentially, because the European Super League comes in, an influx of money comes in. The bottom line for Kroenke, he looks at it because he doesn't care about the football or the league table or that. He looks at it, the European Super League money's coming in, and that money's coming in every year, he hears. Yeah. Beautiful. So as much as, yes, I was looking at this loss and the loss coming up as a chance that maybe he might start thinking about selling because it's affecting his pocket, but essentially round the corner. And we all know now that the clubs have been talking about it for a few years, and Kroenke has been involved in those talks. Maybe that's why he's happy sitting where he's sitting, doing bare minimum, because he knows in a few years, whether we're 4th or whether we're 15th, as long as we stay in this league, we're going to be in the European Super League. We're going to be playing Barca twice, 3 times a year, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Real Madrid. Happy days. But as a fan, we're going to be getting smoked by all of them teams, week in, week out, and be embarrassed.
Holding in Chambers at the back against Barcelona, yeah?
It's crazy. And it puts a damper on it because, you know, the loss that we made I actually was happy with it because finally their bottom line, the profit margins were gone. But now when Mo highlighted the European Super League, if it happens, God help us, because it's gone. It's literally gone at that stage. And that's 2 years, 3 years away.
Yeah, you know, this is another subject entirely that we could go into in depth. I mean, let's be honest, our football, the things that fans love and it's a passion, has been taken, commercialized, used against us, and now it's being taken from us. You could argue that case. We can go into it in far more depth. But Lee, you've heard what Turkish had to say. I mean, he's made some really good points. I mean, we discussed the Wenger situation, and it did seem like there was a structure. Maybe Turkish is right, having discussed this. Maybe it was because Wenger obviously had been with us for so long. It seemed like we knew what we were doing. And the minute he left, no one else knew what to do. Do you agree with that? And are we to blame as fans for letting it get as bad as it has?
Well, I think that, you know, Turkish is right. The club's been run poorly from since we moved into Emirates. The one thing is, though, now it's the Kroenkes now over the last 2 years have took over solely. And in that 2 years, they spent £72 million on I don't know what. If I think, is it Pepe or Peppa Pig? I don't know who have spent that money on because, you know what I mean, absolute waste of money. £72 million.
Yeah. Maybe somebody in the club thought that it would be a good idea to sign him and they just jumped in and signed him like what they've done with the keeper. Because that's what it looks like.
So they've put £72 million on that. They've spent 45 million on partey. I've got to say, they've spent some money on Gabriel, and all of a sudden he's looking shaky in the last couple of games. You know, all of a sudden he's got the Arsenal defensive jitters. You know, they've bought Tierney in that light, so that, you know, they've bought Gabriel, Martinelli. There are certain signs it has gone a little bit better. I'm not saying it's great, but there's money been thrown at this club. There has been money spent, and it's been spent poorly. You know what I mean? 50 million on Lacazette. You know what I mean? I can go on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just ridiculous what the amount of money that we've wasted. And listen, the one positive, there is a couple of positives that we've got, and the positives are Martinelli and Xhaka. Getting them in the team on the same pitch, I think, will be a little bit more exciting, you know. But I think that I think, you know, Turkish is right. We've got a board or an owner that don't care. He don't care. You know what I mean? All he cares about is what it's going to earn and what it's going to do for him at the end of the day. Now, that I don't think will change against Chelsea. I think if we lost 5-0 to Chelsea, 4-0, 3-0, and I see fans now wanting us to get really stuffed because that's going to get Arteta out. That's not going to get Arteta out. You know, the ones that may get him out if we lose to Brighton and West Brom, because then we'd be like, I think one from bottom of the league. And I think that when you become bottom of the league, I think that that's when things will change. And I can't see us at this moment in time getting a win at this moment in time. But once he's got these couple of players back in, then I think it'll be a little bit different. You know, I think that Martinelli just gives us. Listen, I think Martinelli's 19 years of age, nowhere near the finished article yet, but he's showing up. He's showing up a lot of people, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With his work rate, with what he does and everything like that. You know, the Arsenal Football Club are relying on two teenagers, you know, of 19 years of age to drag Arsenal out of the doom and gloom, you know, and you're paying people like aubameyang, whatever you're paying him, willian and all that, like, loads of money, Lacazette, and you're putting on two teenagers that are probably on 100 grand, if that, between them, to pull us out the mire. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, you know, and I think that the problem that we've got is, I think we've got an owner that don't care, has not got. We've got a recruitment system and whatever that have not got no experience. We've got a manager with no experience, and I think that it's all coming home to roost. It's all coming home to roost. You know, cheap options. I think Turkish said it earlier on. You know, the goalkeeper, a cheap option. Yeah, he was Arteta, a cheap option. Let's be honest, boys. He's a cheap option.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a yes man. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, whether he's a yes man or not, you know, there was, let's get him in because he's not going to cost us a great deal. Blah 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 blah. It's all done on the cheap. Now, if you build an house with cheap materials, what's going to happen? It's going to blow away, you know. And this is the thing that Arsenal are doing. You know, they're trying to do it on the cheap. And it's not working, and I really don't see for the first time in, well, listen, this is the worst it's ever been, worst I've ever seen as an Arsenal fan, going back into the early 80s with Terry Neill. But when Terry Neill was sacked, you know what I mean, it still took 2 or 3 years later before Arsenal even started to be anything near a good side. Like the last season of Don Howe. And then George Graham took over, like, you know. So
but even when they were sacked, Lee, even when Terry Neill was sacked, it was like 5th or 6th or 7th or something like that. His finishes, and he built a decent squad, which eventually came. But it wasn't this bad, was it? No, it wasn't this bad. And I think we're under. But this gets something straight here, you know. Under Terry Neill, they sold their best assets 2 years before that. They sold. Too early.
Frank Stateman and Liam Brady got rid of them, and then you're expecting a manager to continue the upward curve after losing two of the best players that Arsenal have ever got. We've done that over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, getting rid of our best players. So it's always going to be tough for who's ever coming in. You know what I mean? But what happened with Arsenal going back under Terry Neill? It wasn't that they was going to be winning the league and all that. The board looked at it and said, with these players, we expect a little bit better than what's happening, losing to West Brom and Walsall at home in the Cup. We expect a little bit more. I look at this team now, and I'm sorry, you know, they should be doing better than what we are. But then I look at it and I think to myself, and I'm not having a go at Eddie here. I'm not. I'm just saying that, you know, he is not ready to be leading Arsenal's front line. You know, so we've now
definitely not
moved away from Highbury to the Emirates. You know, and we've got Eddie leading our line that I can guarantee you would not get into any other team's Premiership first starting lineup, any Premiership League team. But he is starting and leading the line for Arsenal. And that
even replace Bamford,
everything you need to know. Eh?
Yeah. He couldn't displace Bamford.
Yeah. So anybody, he could not get into one team in the Premier League. But there he is leading the Arsenal Football Club. Now, when you look at that, and honestly, this is not having a go at Eddie. This is having a go at the people in charge of our football club to allow that to happen. Now, we've all been, you know, through the years. I'm a little bit probably older than you guys, but like always had decent forwards all through my life as an Arsenal fan. You know what I mean? Apart from the early 80s when they sacked Terry Neal, or just before they sacked Terry Neal. But up until then, we've had decent forwards. All of a sudden, we've not got decent forwards again, and that is why we're struggling. You've got, you know, aubameyang, you know, has not been doing the business. As simple as that, for whatever reason. I look at him, and I think to myself, right, yeah, you're captain of the team. You're the one that's on the big money. You're the leader. I've watched Martinelli do more work than him in 45 minutes than he's done all season. That tells me that there's a problem, because I can tell you this now, Aubameyang was working hard last season. He's down tools now.
Lee, it's funny you say that, because I was speaking to somebody that it's one of those things, somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. But this guy has told me things before that it was right, and it turned out to be right. And he said Aubameyang is not injured. He had a major fallout with Arteta. That's why he's not getting games now.
What was his reason?
Just a style of play. That he's not getting, he can't score goals because he's not getting fed. And
well, that makes sense. If you look at our attacking lineup, it's not like they get an abundance of chances. I mean, the one thing I will say that stood out for me yesterday was seeing the youngsters who have the mentality where they don't respect the team too much and they go for them. You know, like, you know, Martinelli, he doesn't have respect for the opponents. He's got that confidence and belief to go for some. Smith Rowe, the same. He'll turn and look to do something positive. So then it creates more opportunity and space. And look, Gabriel's Lacazette scored because Martinelli got the ball on the wing, was positive, drove it to the byline. All right, it was a bit of a dodgy touch, but he pulled that ball back. He hit 2 crosses in a row that were great. And the second one was right on his head and he finished it. So could that be possible? That, you know, it seems like there's disgruntled players in that squad.
Yeah, because I remember they were putting pictures out of the training. Aubameyang was in there, and then next thing you know, on the day, he's injured. Just one thing left before we go forward. There's a couple of things I just want to say. First of all, again, we've got about 700 people watching, so please hit the like button, subscribe to us, Turkish LDN, subscribe to them. And also, I put a tweet about this earlier during the week as well, but we never got to this is obviously our flagship show, if you like. So I just wanted to officially announce that we've got Harry Symeou joining the Arsenal Lounge team. So we're going to be doing something with him on Sundays, and Graham in the new year is called Sunday Surgery, which will look at things. And there's one guy that I know there's a lot of people in the comments that they put a comment. We can't read everything. Obviously, we're obligated to read out super chat, etc. But I promised this guy, because he had this special question for Turkish, and I promised him that I'll put it to Turkish. So if you don't mind, Turkish.
As long as it's not Ozil, then we'll go.
Well, it is. Yeah, no, it is. I just promised him that I'll ask his question, because he's been around for us and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to.
I know. Yeah, he's on my channel as well. But yeah, what's he saying? The Q&A.
Big up everyone. Hope you're well. Quick question for Turkish. Did you see Mesut Ozil, our Q&A on Twitter? He's at it again. There's no control whatsoever. The good old days, old tarnish, sad and upsetting.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, he's always up to his PR tricks all the time. It's not the first time, but obviously because we are so, you know, in such a bad place right now, it's highlighted even further. And the fact he's not in the squad. I've got the one he said here that stood out most to me, and he said. He was answering, are you happy at Arsenal, yeah? And it's his choice whether to answer this question or not. So that's number one for me. This is how I analyze it, if anyone wants to know. Number one, it's his choice to pick that question out and answer it, yeah? So you're already playing on all the millions of followers you have. Okay, you want to answer, are you happy at Arsenal? That's fine. You come out with, it's a very difficult time for everyone around the club, not just for me. The situation is frustrating for everyone. Of course, I'd wish I could help the team, especially right now. But as long as I don't get the chance, I just hope that we get better results. But 2 years ago, we wasn't happy with Arsenal Football Club. 3 years ago, we wasn't happy. 4 years ago, we wasn't happy. What, is it just the fact that we're 15th? that everything's terrible now. We haven't been happy for over 10 years. So Mesut Ozil can talk about the difficult time and all that. Us fans have been going through a difficult time for a lot longer than 3 months or 6 months that this guy hasn't been in the squad. Us fans have been going through it for years. But this man just wants to play his PR tricks. The sooner gone, the better. And not just him, about 18 man in the squad can go. The whole board, owners. Literally, yeah, if you offered me the chance to scrap everyone at this club and start again, would I take that risk? Yes. Who the hell do I care about in this club apart from the new ones we've signed or the young ones like xhaka and Martinelli? I don't care about much else.
There's no tie between anybody and us Turkish, you know? Like, you know, there was a tie between Adams and fans Vieira and fans Henry and fans Bernd. There's nobody in the squad that you, like you said, that you've got this relationship with fans per se. Aubameyang a little bit. Apart from that, as you said, I don't care about any of them.
I would fight for Adams. I would fight for Henry. I would fight for Wright.
Yeah.
You know? But now,
there's nobody.
I'd struggle to stop someone fighting Ozil. I'd struggle to stop someone fighting xhaka. I'd struggle to stop someone fighting Mustafi because none of these people, look, we are customers to them. So I'm looking at them as employees. That's how I'm going to look at them. Because if we're customers, you are the employees of Arsenal Football Club. You're barely football players, as we've seen year on year. So, like, with regards
isn't this down to us though, right? As fans now, like, and I'm gonna just say it out there, right? Over the years, we as a fan base, we have been disgruntled. That disgruntlement has led to lots of people airing it in different ways, mainly via the social media. We've over the last few years been busy with our own inner sort of battles, should we say? Wenger in, Wenger out. This person in, this person out. While we've been doing all of this has been going on for years, right? Let's be honest. We have sat back and let this happen. The only people that can actually change this right now are the fans. So all these big accounts are, you know, I would say, instead of sitting there bickering with each other, why not, as a fan base, are we not saying this is not good enough? You over there with 100,000 subs, you over there with 50, you over there with 90. Let's all work together, divert that traffic at the direction it's supposed to be in, which is the board and the club, and say, we as a fan base are no longer happening. Why are we not doing that? And why has it taken so long for us to actually speak up and get to 15? I'd like to hear, I don't know, Lee's opinion on this and all of you, really.
Listen, I think at this moment in time, it's a very, very difficult time with following the Arsenal. You know, we can't go to games, so you can't voice an opinion. You know, at this moment in time, it's a difficult time. But I can guarantee that the first time, if the fans are in there now, I don't think this would be going on because there will be a lot of discontent. Yeah, you know, there would have been a lot of fans not going to games. I think that that would have been the case now. I think that after that game yesterday, that would have been toxic in that stadium. I don't care what anybody says. You know, I feel that would definitely be the case. You know, you can boycott the look at this. You know, Turkish made a great point about the merchandise earlier on. You know, they bring out this thing. Was it the Adidas family thing? Right? You know, it was sold out within a day. And you can't even go to the shops these days and get it. You know what I mean? You can't go into the shop. It's sold out within a day. So that tells you one thing. It's not necessarily just the hardcore Arsenal fans buying all that stuff. It's tourists buying it, whatever. And that's the thing at this moment in time. So it's very, very difficult. So if I turn around and say, right, I'm not going to go to a game, there's going to be 5,000 people lining up just for my seat. And there's going to be, you know, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. Now, back in the day, when it was proper football, as far as I was concerned, you'd all go round to the main stand and you'd voice your opinion. That's how they got Terry Neal out. And that's what will happen when we're allowed back in the stadium. You know, the fans will have to say something. And I don't think, you know, it's all down to Mikel Arteta. You know, I think that, you know, if he goes, which I think that he should because of what's going on at the moment, but there's a few more got to go with him, boys. You know, that he's been let down. You know, you look at somebody like as we said, the Pepe situation there, that, whoever sanctioned that deal, you've got to look at the Redison one who sanctioned that deal. There's some things that have gone really wrong at the football club. And the fan base, let's have a look at Liverpool. I don't like to compare other teams and all that, but going back to Liverpool, they had their stadium, and I think they was going on about £70 a ticket, if I remember. I remember being up there, and it was about £70 a ticket they was all going to be paying for. Bearing in mind that £70 is quite a cheap ticket at Arsenal, but that was the dearest ticket that they was going to get. Now, not everybody was going to be paying £70 for their ticket, but they said, we ain't having none of that. And they all walked out at the game, and they did do it. But what happens is the fans, the ball said, well, we can't mess about with Liverpool fans because this is what they do. But with Arsenal fans, they just chuck it on, and we just carry on taking it. Yeah. It's got to be when the fans come back, it's got to be, if you're not happy with the ball, you're not happy with the Cronkies, someone's got to get along and say, right, after how many minutes of the game, everybody in that stadium walks out. Now, not everybody in that stadium is going to walk out, but if you've got 90, 80, 60% of that team walking out at one time in a big game, not just a Mickey Mouse game, in a big game when it's on TV and that will highlight the problem. Now, I'm happy to go along with anything like that. And if that's the case, in my beliefs and whatever, but you ain't going to do that on social media when you have a look at the club put out a team yesterday on their Twitter account and then stop anybody commenting on it and all that. Like, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That they're just going to switch it off and they're not going to bother. So I don't think it's about people's channels, people's Twitter accounts and all that. What it comes down to is the fans to turn around, the match day going fans. Now, it's all right for somebody to turn around to you and say, well, don't go to the game, right? Yeah, that's fair enough if they've not got a season ticket and whatever. Now, I'm saying that if you have got a season ticket, I'm prepared to go to a game and not go into it. But also then the fans that are not got season tickets or not got tickets, they've got to turn up as well. You know what I mean? And make the effort and get to that ground on that day and protest. You know, then all of a sudden you've got 200,000 fans protesting outside the ground, no one in the ground. Someone along the line is going to turn around and go, oh, something's not quite right here and we need to sort it out. But that is what's got to happen if you're going to sort something out, like, you know, and that is how it's going to have to be. Whether fans will do
accounts, that. Lee, sorry to interrupt, but when I say about the accounts, it's obviously, yes, I totally agree with you. These guys do have to turn up to the grounds and be able to protest. But where these YouTube accounts can help is in organising things like this. If you can reach out to 100,000 one hit, you can reach out to 50 in another, if you can reach out to 60 over there, it makes you work smarter, quicker, and get the word out, right? So this is where my problem is with our fan base.
Can I say something?
Happily go along with that. You know what I mean? Okay, I don't know what Turkish
I just want to put, I just saw something interesting, and this is to back up what Lee was saying earlier, which is interesting, Lee. I think it will be interesting for you to say. This is from Rujan Chetty. He says, Lee, I'm a medical doctor, and if you could see Luiz were concussed, I can't understand what the Arsenal doctor saw. He was concussed, dazed, and out of it. Was at center of the two goals. Was at the center of the two goals.
Great point.
Yeah. And you know what? Going back to the accounts and things and everything, I think the immediate problem at Arsenal is, I think, results. I know there's a lot of problems there. But for me, the first thing that needs to improve is probably the results rather than the board and the owners, this and that. Because this is on a free fall that is just going down.
It's us. It's not the result.
I know Turkish, but how long is it going to take for the fans to get sorted out?
I agree.
But how long is it going to take for the results to get back to so we can start at least come up a little bit on the table and then say, right, listen, guys, let's go together and so and so.
We sat back and accepted mediocrity for ages. Sorry, Turkish, bro. I know you want to say something.
The results are the results are at the bottom of the pile for me. Because what a upturn in form does is just hide and paper over cracks again. We saw a 20-game unbeaten streak of Emery. We saw Wenger nearly get, we pipped second at the last day of the season. We saw things that us fans have looked at and said, well, that is a positive. But it never ends with anything. And if it never ends with anything, then, you have to ask yourself, is it worth believing in again? Because last time it didn't end in anything. The time we believed before that last time it didn't end in anything. Is it going to end in something again? Shaheen, I can't lie to you. The results at the moment, I go into games pessimistic, without much hope. After the games, I honestly don't care too much because I expected what I've just seen from the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, I understand that.
And a change in literally 3 points against Chelsea this week does nothing for this club. A 4-0 win against Chelsea this week does nothing for this club.
And I agree with that, Turkish. And I agree with that, brother.
Guys, and we'll be here talking about, Oba scored 2 goals. At least he's got a couple goals. Xhaka did really well. Yeah, and you know what? It was pretty solid at the back from Gabriel and Luiz. And we'll start talking about these little things again, like a small improvement in xhaka or a small... And in reality, everything else slowly gets pushed. Not because we want to push it, because off the back of a 4-0, it's a lot harder talking about the reality of the problems than it is after 8 weeks of, 1 win in 11 games. For me...
I 100% agree with you.
One sec, Shane. I've been banging on about this, win, lose or draw for years, yeah? And I was called negative, but I think years on now, people have realized that it was never negative. I don't want to be negative about my football team. This is just my reality, my opinion. So I just believe that now that the results have completely gone wayward, we're down in 15th place. And even the people on Twitter that like to put me down and act like I'm not a real fan and I'm too negative, they've even hidden because they can't even speak up positively about the club anymore. So right now, this has worked in the favor of getting to the root core of why we haven't won for 10 years, not just this season, for 10 years. Because it's not just about this season. So a few results here and there, we might get top 6 at the end of the season, means nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah, no, listen, I 100% agree with you, right? My point, when I made that, it was to do with, if you look at the bigger picture of Arsenal and the things that needs to be done, right at this minute, we need to start coming up the table. And what you're saying is 100% correct. My point would be for the overall picture of Arsenal that needs to be done. Obviously, I would like to start to see the club climbing up the table. In the same time, yes, the problems have always been the same. Win, lose, or draw, the problems are there. Because you're right in saying if we beat Chelsea, the problems are still there. It's just going to be plastering over cracks, really. That's why at least I want to see the team climbing up the table a little bit.
We need to finish
and then go forward.
We need to finish in the bottom half of the table this season. Otherwise,
it probably will.
They're going to find a way to make this a positive again and make us hope again, trust something again. If we don't finish in the bottom half of this table, yeah, Arsenal fans will start hoping again. They'll think, okay, we look at the start of the season. We was 15th. Now we finished the season in the top 10. I can see it coming. So it might be
I've seen it too, man. I've seen it too.
They spin it, a bit of positivity shines. They grab that positivity. Look, we were on the way up. You can see it was starting to change. We'll be all right next season.
Remember how many times we made a late run, from February to maybe May under Wenger. And then Wenger, come summer, said, well, did you see our run since January? We've got the best in the league. We go into the season in August, lo and behold, not good enough because they sell it to us every year. The FA Cup.
100%. I agree with everything you're saying. But in the same time, I don't like to see my club sitting on 15th for 16th, and for Sam Allardyce to come and say, well, we're going to, we're playing our relegation rivals. So that's my point. But in terms of everything else that you said, we're all been saying this for the past, 4 or 5 weeks, that these are the problems that need to be solved.
So Shaheen and you guys, right, we're coming up close to an hour, so we want to try to move it ahead as quick as possible with the Chelsea game coming up and all that sort of thing. Everyone in the chats, there's a lot of busy sort of activity down there. Everyone's got their own opinions. But we could go on about this all day long. So I'll put this out there. So everything we've heard everything that's been going wrong. We've got the Chelsea game coming up. what's your thoughts? What should he do? Should he, in your opinions, give these youngsters a chance now? Lee, what do you think he should do? And what do you think is you're going to be your prediction, should I say, mate?
No, listen, I think that Mikel Arteta will bring back xhaka. I think he'll come straight back into the side because I look at it and
really?
I think, yeah, I do because I looked at it yesterday.
I agree.
I looked at it yesterday. He could have made a lot more substitutions. He kept Ceballos on there for the whole game, so that tells me that he'll leave him out. I think Bellerin will come back into the side because he wasn't involved yet, yesterday. If he wasn't going to be involved on Sunday, he would have been involved on this. And I just see, I don't know about you guys, as soon as the team sheet comes out, I'm doom and gloom because I know what's coming. And I'd like to see a little bit more of the youngsters coming in. You know, it's like the Bellingham one. I'm watching players week in, week out, fouling up front. Why not just chuck him in, see what he can do? Why didn't they chuck him in against Manchester City yesterday? Just chucked him in, see what he could do against a better, good side.
Did you see that, Lee? Did you see when he came on? He straight away he made that direct run with the ball and the defender, and then something we came out of that.
Yeah, in the middle.
I like
you remember that?
You know, he come on. You know, Eddie will come on whether he starts or not. Eddie will be on before him against Chelsea. He'll have more minutes than him. I doubt if he'll even be in the squad come this game. You know, and this is what gets me down. I can't see Chelsea. You know, I believe it or not, I think that he'll play Willian for this game because it's against Chelsea. Maybe it's, I think on the desperation that it might be against Chelsea that it finally clicks for him. That's how I see it. I just think that, look, listen, guys, enjoy Christmas Day because Boxing Day you're not going to enjoy. That's how I look at it. So enjoy your Christmas Day because I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win.
Okay.
Yeah, Lee, you know what? Lee is probably right, man. You know, he's got a point. Sorry, I just said that, so I'll go and then in Turkish you can go after me.
That's right. Just take it up as you go on, Shaheen. Then
he is right.
What you want, mate?
He is right.
No, Lee. You know what? My worry is that Bellerin is going to come back in. Xhaka is going to come back in.
Why?
Obviously, Holding's going to come back in. No, and he's going to start Nketiah. I really don't see what Nketiah brings to this team. And you got Lacazette sitting on the bench or Balogun. And yeah, I agree with everything that Lee said. I don't see anything except the Chelsea win. And my worry is that these guys will just walk straight back into the team, and it's just going to be the same old story.
It's crazy.
Sorry, Turkish too.
Rely on the same people again. I mean, if I've heard Martinelli is okay. By the way, hello to Lee. I've seen you there, mate. Yeah, not you, Lee. There's a Lee in the chat. But Martinelli might be okay. So would you start him if he was okay? Turkish.
Yeah, I'd start him if he was okay. He's got something that very few in this squad have, in terms of character. Imagine that from a 19-year-old, a teenager. Crazy. But essentially, like Lee said, regardless of whoever we put out there, and when you see the team sheet, it's always demoralizing. It's always a blow. It's always, all hands on deck because we're never going to be happy with the lineup with all these players that have let us down so many times. Because even if Xhaka doesn't play, it's going to be El Nene Ceballos. So yes, I agree, Xhaka shouldn't be playing, but nor should El Nene and Ceballos. Our midfield shouldn't even be here. So we're always going to be, unhappy with the lineup. But again, it's a head versus heart. My head, as much as my head tells me, Arsenal are just fucked up right now, and Arsenal are in a place where they need to go backwards before they go forwards. My head will still tell me 2-1 Chelsea, but my heart doesn't want to hear that. My heart will still say a 1-1.
You'll still be really pissed off if we don't win.
Yeah, because it's just I don't want to feel like this. I don't want my head to tell my heart it's wrong.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I'd like to, I'd like my heart to be right every once in a while, but it hasn't been for over a decade now regarding Arsenal. And at the end of the day, it's silly. Even I see Overmars in the comments, and they're talking about director of football and whatnot. I read Overmars, and it reminds me of the good days, and it's sad. It's actually sad. It shouldn't be like that. But here we are. 2-1 Chelsea, 1-1 if you listen to my heart.
So, guys, you've heard it. All you guys in the chat, please hit the like buttons. Subscribe if you haven't already. Guys from Facebook accounts, Gunners Social, and the Arsenal Lounge official Facebook account. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Keep supporting the show. It's been another interesting show for us today. You've heard it here first. A rip-roaring, boosting confidence type show where everyone has predicted a Chelsea win. So that's where you've heard it first on the Arsenal Lounge. I'm at Lavanja. Shaheen, do you want to say anything before you go?
Man, just thanks for everybody giving us your time, watching us. Just subscribe to our channel, like the video, subscribe to Turkish LDN. He does a lot more content with us. Not with us, than us. And just as he said, you got that little glimmer of hope in your heart that you think, let's go out there, boys, put in a performance, get a result, and maybe things will turn from there.
Okay. Turkish, you want to add anything? You want to say anything to anyone before you go? Nah.
Merry Christmas.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Lee?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, nothing. I just want to say, everybody have a lovely Christmas and enjoy your day as best you can, obviously under the circumstances. But it's always nice to have a Christmas day and a Christmas dinner. So enjoy your dinner, and as I say, enjoy Christmas, because Boxing Day is not going to be good.
Yes, that's great. Another pep talk from Lee just before you go. So, guys, everyone in the chats, thanks for supporting us. These last couple of months have been amazing. I wish you all a happy Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy. A big little, I say big little, doesn't even make sense. A big shout out to Texas Gunner. I've seen you saying a few things. I hope you're well over there. And thanks for everyone. We're out of here. Let's see what happens after the Chelsea game. Peace out.